serious?
Okay, from the results that I just did right now, like a little survey, about 8 out of 10 didn't know what Turner syndrome was, and just like many of you, I didn't know what the term Turner syndrome means until about 7 years ago when my daughter Anna was diagnosed before birth. You know, it was August 2007 when we had just arrived at a date as when we would find out what the sex of our baby would be. So we were all, you know, just very anxious and whatnot. So when we show up, the ultrasound technician's doing her thing, and we're just so excited when she finally told us, you know, you're gonna have a baby girl. All that quickly changed as soon as she just kept on looking at the pictures. She called several doctors in and out, so she was, you know, she didn't want to tell us what was going on. So we kind of knew something was going on at that time. The doctors ended up telling us, you know, they specifying that it could have been Turner syndrome. Their speculations came true when they did a test called amniocentesis, where they take out the fluid out of the woman's stomach to verify what was going on. So from that moment, my daughter when she was conceived, she was the one out of 2,500 females that are diagnosed with the syndrome. According to the genetic home of reference, you know, this is the statistic that one out of 2,500 females are diagnosed with this worldwide. Today I will briefly want to share with you the information on what Turner syndrome is, the physical manifestations, and the treatments available. We'll begin with learning what Turner syndrome is. It was discovered by Dr. Henry H. Turner in 1938. This occurred when he was given 7 patients, and they all came in for the same thing. It was more because they were short in stature. His work of endocrinology field was outstanding. It was written by Casey Murphy and the Endocrine Today that Dr. Turner's involvement with the early stages of endocrinology was truly pioneering. There are several types of Turner syndrome. The first one being classic Turner syndrome. To make it simple, in order for a girl to be a girl, she needs to have 2 X chromosomes. For classic Turner syndrome, there's only 1 X chromosome in each cell. Now, just to give you a little definition, 1 chromosome is missing, which occurs during the formation of the reproductive cells from the father or the mother. There's the other one called the mosaic Turner syndrome, where, to kind of simplify it, there's some cells that have the usual 2X, and then there's other cells that have just the 1X. Another definition would be partial of the X chromosome is missing, which occurs as a random event during cell division and early fetal development. Some cells have the sex chromosomes while others only have a copy, which is the one just simplifying it. Now, Turner syndrome is not inherited, but it is it's just random. It's just, like I said, the statistic is 1 out of 2,500 females that are diagnosed with this. But it is the cause of many stillbirths and many miscarriages. Now that we talked about what Turner syndrome is, we'll talk about some of the physical manifestations, and we'll start with the internal. They're likely to have heart problems, narrowing of the aorta, renal problems. My daughter Anna she had multicystic kidneys, one of them which never developed, so she only had 1 functioning kidney at 70%. High blood pressure, thyroid problems, and ovarian failure. They have likely to have continuous ear infections, which could lead to hearing loss. Vision problems could one day maybe have to be wearing glasses and whatnot, and bone disorders, scoliosis and osteoporosis. Now we talked about the internal, let's talk about some of the external. Anna, can you come up here? In an article on the Endocrine Today website states that stature is about 4 feet 8 inches is about the average height of a girl with Turner syndrome without growth hormones. That's the highest that she's averaged to get at. Anna right now is at the 0 percentile for her age, according to the CDC, the Central Disease Control Statistics. She's 7 years old. She's 42.5 inches. according to the CDC, she should be around 47.5 inches just to be at the 50 percentile for kids her age. So that she falls below the chart on the CDC. Another characteristic is they have web of the neck. They have wide chest, the low hairline, as well as when they grow up, they have more swollen hands and swollen feet. Just some of the characteristics. So now that we talked about what Turner syndrome is and some of the manifestations, we talk about some of the treatments. According to Kids Health, Org tells us that there's growth hormones. They're very effective, but not every single person gets to use them because they're diagnosed at such a later age. Fortunately for us, it was something that was caught before birth, so it was something that she could get on right away because the doctors say that it's very important right now at this time for her to get on those growth hormones and wait till later on. Some girls are able to receive treatment because, like I said, some girls are unable to receive. There's also estrogen replacement therapy. It's used for girls to reach puberty and the physical changes that come with it, such as breast development and the menstrual cycle. So when she gets to that age, she'll eventually have to have that kind of treatment. So in conclusion, I hope I can shed a little light or make it a little bit clear on whether you did know or whether you didn't know what Turner syndrome was. We talked about what Turner syndrome was, the discovery of it, the physical manifestations, as well as the different kinds of treatment to help these girls have somewhat of a normal life. And it helps them, just because they're limited with certain things, they can still have a fulfilling life. Receiving a diagnosis and living with Turner syndrome can be very difficult and challenging, but it should not stop any girl from fulfilling it. Dr. Catherine Ward Melver was diagnosed with Turner syndrome when she was only 7 years old. Although she's faced many difficulties growing up, today she is a well-known geneticist who lives a fulfilling life. She recently adopted a daughter of her own who has Turner syndrome. Now, one thing that I like about that is no matter what, we can always look at somebody else's. And this is from ABC News, just to know that there's things out there to help us understand that we can all still live a fulfilling life with Turner syndrome. Thank you.